Along though, he was already on the ball because he's seen this last night. So you should be able to see me in there, red, orange, and yellow guy. So we're looking for cold spots. So those are going to be blue and black. So with this one, the way I have it set up is there's a blue dot bouncing around the screen, and it's going to show you the coldest spot in the frame at that moment. So again, it's going to bounce around and it's going to give you the temperature. I'm looking for 15-degree temperature drops. So tonight's temperature, I think I wrote down, was like 68. So I'm going to be looking for 53 degrees and colder. But those blue and black spots, we're always going to have them because we're going to have windshields and glass and things from buildings. But I am looking for anything that starts moving on its own or taking shape on its own. Taking shape means heads, shoulders, moving arms and legs. You guys are getting my point. I'm looking for people in this guy. So this guy is actually, it's super great because the technology's there because it's an actual FLIR. But again, if we record the entire night, we're going to lose footage because the software sucks. So Brad, I'm going to be giving you starts and stops for this guy just so that, again, we're not going to lose any type of footage. Now, last night, they can attest, like, the young lady kept handling it by the camera, and it kept popping out of there. Don't handle the camera. It's just an attachment for a cell phone. So everybody handles this guy one-handed. So you're going to be basically one-handing it, and, again, this guy will pop out. This is your start and stop button. I'm going to stop the video now. So
I think you have some inflammation in your right shoulder.
Hit that record button.
Hey, don't put the cars this way.
Nice and easy to use. It's not the crazy static in your ears like what I did with you guys last night. So, yeah, just be mindful of that guy in his car behind me, so he's probably going to be getting out. So you guys got this. Alright, so you're getting the gist of that, right?
Yeah, you said to keep one of y'all in the frame at all times, right?
You got it. Nice and easy. So what I'm looking for, like I would watch that. I don't normally look at the ground in this location. I usually look at the wall because it holds the heat from the day's sun. So if I see a cold anomaly move across it, that's when usually the blue dot will follow it, and that's when I kind of keep track of things.
So by wall, you're talking about the building over here?
The wall around the lot.
The wall around the lot.
So again, it's made out of cement, so it's going to hang on to the heat a little bit different. Our parking lot, I'm sure you notice, is a bunch of different colors. The reason for that is because it's gravel, it's mud, it's cement. You know, it's got all kinds of different material.
Has different properties, holds heat differently.
Exactly. So that's why I don't always pay attention to the ground here, and we'll get like a can on here that'll give us a false anomaly from time to time. So it might be like a smashed can on the ground, that kind of thing.
B. Why are you telling me to shush?
I'll give you my EMF. Yeah, you'll hang on to one of those. So this one. So watch this. So what you're looking for, like that's me. And you're gonna see a big giant orb come up and then go this way. That's what we're looking for. We also had high EMF at the same time that actually occurred. So again, it's definitely something intelligent because it changed direction.
Right, because it kind of noticed that we were like recording or something.
Not necessarily. It's just seeing people standing there.
Yeah.
All right. What are we hearing out of yours? What do we got?
When I asked how many children there were, I heard one a couple of times, and then I thought I heard a five. And I wasn't getting anything from it.
Not unless we're doing that. Heard one, five, no names at all. So if you heard anything else, it's not always going to be a direct answer. It's always the silliest thing that you never think of that might actually be, something relevant in this case. So even though you're asking a question, don't search for that answer. Just tell me whatever you hear. You might be asking questions, but remember, Bayley couldn't get an answer.
Right.
So again, if you heard like, I don't know, buy a Mazda today, I want to know that you heard buy a Mazda today. No matter if you're asking a question about Mazdas or not.
Okay.
Does that make sense now?
Yeah.
So again, every little thing that you hear. Because again, they're going to reach
I
and
just
grab.
got scared.
So I had 5, 8, 5, 9. Alright, so Liam, think you can handle this guy too? So anything above a 5, 8 on there is what I want to know. So you're going to get both of those. So anything above 5, 8. And then we're going to keep escalating it up. Anything coming out of yours, William?
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet. Bailey, how you doing on yours? So just like I explained to her, it's whatever you hear. If you hear a song, I want to know what the lyric was that you heard.
Whenever we were over there, I heard vampire.
You
Of
don't
course.
trust me.
Of course.
What do you mean? Is that what you, oh,
That's what I heard.
I thought she was coming over here blaming me. You don't
You're
trust
like,
me.
what?
Why are you talking to her? You don't trust me.
It was just 11.2.
11.2.
But that's the only really weird thing.
So again, even if you hear Harry Styles singing, I don't care that you heard Harry Styles. I want to know what he was singing.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So again, you might be asking questions. Don't look for the answer. Just let things happen. So again, a lot of people just focus on those questions that I kind of hand out. Other people will repeat them. I heard you talking over there, which is fine too, because that's how I work.
You know what, Nick? I forgot to ask the question, so let me go.
Who were you talking to over there then?
I was just listening to the thing.
I heard you talking.
She's
Really?
probably singing Harry Styles. Is
I
what she's doing.
Probably doing.
Let me go ask my question.
Okay, make it quick round.
She probably started jamming out.
That's a weird thing to hear in April, isn't it?
Now, since I don't have a sound record, I'm not supposed to be asking questions, right? Or am I?
You can.
But she would get the answer. I'm not gonna get.
You
anything.
might get the answer on the audio of your camera.
Is there an audio on here?
Yeah, it's listening to us.
Oh, I didn't know
There's
that.
audio on all 3
Oh
cameras.
my gosh! I was telling it how much I had to pee.
That's okay.
Oh,
I don't listen to the audio.
okay.
You guys do.
All right.
I stopped listening to the audio when I'd give that thing to hecklers, and they would say nasty things about me. So I was like, well, let me turn off the audio on these, so that way I can just focus on the visuals. Yeah, I don't listen to those. I put them on mute while I watch them, so that way I can focus. Gene, anything else coming up on the word list? Pretty vague, isn't it? Yeah, we want that specific term. ADRIAN?
It's better to be by yourself.
And you don't trust me. That's interesting.
Over here, right
Uh-oh. Bailey looked excited.
What, bae?
It was 7.5.
Oh, she said okay. She does have something. You're right.
I don't know if this is true, but I asked Eliza where she's from, and my thing said my bitch is from Atlanta. Is she from Atlanta?
No.
Okay, then that's
But-
all I got.
So here's the weird thing. So even though you guys are asking questions and you might not get the direct answers, when you guys hear weird things like Atlanta on a Charleston radio station, I still write it down. Here's why. And I don't think I got a chance to explain this to you last night because it didn't happen. So normally somebody's going to come up with a name. We already had the name Rosalind show up on there, but normally it's almost like a predictive something. So if we get a weird city, weird country, anything that's not Charleston, I write it down because we have the name Rosalind. I might have a Rosalind on my next tour that's from Atlanta. I've seen it happen at least a dozen times a year, as many times as I've been doing this out here for the past 4 years.
I
Like, it
just
happens
had
all the time.
56.7.
Nice. 56.
Was innocent.
Do you think I could just use this for a little while until I'm comfortable with this, and then I use both?
So I think once we get to the alley, you're going to want to hang on to both of those because everybody's going to want footage from that camera when we're in the alley. So if you can hang on to it for a little while longer.
Okay.
I know it's hard to use both, but
Yeah, very. I'm not really even paying attention to this right
that's
now.
okay. Because again, you don't need to in real time. That's why you get the video back later. Give you guys another minute with the spirit box to see what we got going on. He's got a 56. That's exciting. So
Why
how
is
high
that
did we get
exciting? What
last-
were what numbers are the exciting parts?
So
at what
anything
point?
like we normally get a spike of an 18 to 22. So,
So
in this
56 is
location,
huge. Okay.
56 is pretty big.
All right.
And I'll explain those readings before we leave the space. So something else just popped up. 25 is your new base. Don't give me anything below 25. I think we got up to like a 34, 36 hit last night, Gene. Was that the number we got?
Now there's 40.
Okay, I'll take a 40. That's a good one. Adrian, anything?
All right.
And too vague. It's a little too vague. Unless you were asking how she was doing.
No.
Okay.
No, I was asking about the kids' names.
Okay. Anything coming out of yours, Bailey? All right. I'm gonna wrap this one up. Come on
Except
in,
the
Liam.
Atlanta thing.
Just the Atlanta thing. I got it written down.
She must be a Ludacris fan.
I guess.
You got
Okay,
another
so
number?
can I stop it?
You can. Give your hand.
Would really like to know if you are here, Eliza.
Mind your camera. Park on my back. Thank you.
Just come close to what I'm holding in my hand.
Anything?
This hand. Oh, 6.7.
Yeah, he got
Oh,
something. He's jumping up.
It's just just for a little longer and as close as you can.
Come on, he's just a kid. Do it, Eliza.
I'm a kid.
Eliza, this
Anything?
is Liam. So if you want to just come a little bit closer for us, we'd like to see another like maybe 50 to 60 reading on the box that he's using with the red light. You know how these work. Just get a little bit closer for us. 50 to 60 will kind of prove to us that you're responding to us directly.
This is 42? Right?
He's got a decimal point.
Oh,
in it.
4.2. Oh. Nothing?
Come as close as you can. Close as
What are
you
you talking about? This is my idea to begin with.
Eliza, if you're here, come touch this box in his hand.
can. Touch the little wire coming out.
That's temperature.
And we'll just come as close as
She
you
knows
can.
how it works. I'm here every night, buddy.
But she's already said she's over it, so.
So, I mean, he's got a little bit of something going on. Like, I'm watching the numbers from back here.
Where'd you get the big numbers from before?
From right over here.
All right, we'll go over
By
there.
that.
Go over there.
By this.
Do it again.
If you are here, come close to me, please.
Move around a little bit, buddy.
1.9.
Again, ghosts don't stand still.
Oh, 3.
Why it goes up and down. That's why it goes up and down like that all the time. It fluctuates.
You get anything?
It's only in the 0 point.
Oh. She's over it.
Alright, come on in.
Come on, babe.
Kind of go that ivy wall. Other tours, again, we'll kind of split the seeds and let them kind of go through. And they will come up from behind you as well, so I'll kind of keep an eye on that for Brad. He definitely looks like a YouTuber out here. Again, with your camera, William, you can always grab it by this top handle and kind of hold it like a suitcase, and that way we have a nice steady shot and see if any stick figures are going to walk by. You may not be able to watch it in real time, but you might be able to just kind of like hold it at your side, so that way you can actually see what's going on and we can get the footage. So it's completely up to you, however you want to hold it.
Yeah.
So definitely get those things on record. Did you guys get your record by the way? Alright, you up and running. So you don't always need to point your cameras at me at this point. Again, we want footage of the alley. So where the heck are we? We're in Philadelphia Alley. This used to be called Duelers Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. So I say some because dueling was illegal at the time, and they kind of had to find a good hiding spot in order to be able to perform the act. So every ghost tour tells the same story. Hey, Remy.
A squirrel?
Yeah, I think it was a
He's
rat.
A rat. Remy the rat. So
I've never seen a rat.
he's harmless. He's out here every night. But anyway, make sure you don't have
Isn't that funny how animals have their little spots and they're just there every night?
Yeah. I mean,
He's just chilling.
Yeah, no, this is his home.
Yep.
That's
And I'm
okay.
invading
He's
it.
allowed to have a home.
So, again, every ghost tour tells the same story. We're going to get different details out of Nick because I researched this like hell to make sure we knew what the hell we were talking about. So, here's how it goes. There's a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. For those of you with spirit boxes, if you hear the song Brown Eyed Girl, it is not coincidence. It's part of his name. You guys are getting my point, right? Anyway, he moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash that she just got, and the attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. So he tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. So he comes to Charleston to prove that he's not after her money. The coachman that brought him into town, though, set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a good start to his stay here in Charleston. So, somebody was walking by and knew what was about to happen because he knew the coachman. His name was Ralph Isaacs. I'm going to stop there for a second because Ralph actually has the same initials as where the doctor came from. R.I. Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. We were getting the letters R.I. on spirit boxes, so now I actually have it's like a digital Ouija board. So it actually uses EMF, like Liam's device, to actually stop a cursor on letters just to see if I would actually get those letters in this location. So I don't always bring it out because it's not always the most productive piece, but we have gotten it in the past 6 months that I've had the device. We have gotten RI down here, but again, 2 different characters. Need a secondary clue so I know who it belongs to. Anyway, back to Ralph. He tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. Just don't go with this guy. He's going to try to kill you. Why don't you come with me to 59 Church Street, 59 being a prominent number. You can stay there, rent a room, you'll be safe and good to go. Dr. Ladd took him up on the offer. They became friends. So, the longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point. He's not after Amanda's money. So Amanda gets wind of this. She's going to move down so they can get married. Dr. Ladd became known as the Whistling Doctor because he whistled all the time. It's the late 1780s. So, and by the way, every haunted city you're ever going to visit in the future is going to have a cliched whistling ghost. We all have one. I'm just pointing it out there. So there's actually proof for this one. We're going to get to that too. Anyway, Dr. Ladd and Ralph go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. So he gets better seats. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. Now, with that, they go see Richard III one night. There's a new actress in town. They're talking about this actress on the way home. They're arguing. Dr. Ladd thought she was great. Ralph didn't. It turns into... We have something going on?
No.
Oh, everybody just kind of like all of a sudden looked down
I
the
thought
alley.
your face was saying there's something going on, so I was peeking.
No. I always look just to see, make sure we're not going to be interrupting other tours. But anyway, the argument that they had got really ugly when Ralph started insulting the doctor's fiance back home in Rhode Island. They went their separate ways. Ralph goes to the newspaper, puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of you're a disgrace to society. 5 to 9 is what we're looking for in here and higher. Liam, just so you know, Liam, over 7 to 9, roughly. Because of the lamppost, they're going to give you more, just so you know. Anyway, back to doctor. He saw that ad that, he's a disgrace to society and challenged Ralph to a duel right where we're standing. Let's settle this and somebody's going to die. So they came down, they took their 10 paces, they turned, the doctor pointed his gun in the air and he shot. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight, which is often what happens at a duel. But Ralph has his one bullet in his flintlock, and he actually puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Dr. Ladd doesn't die, but he drops to the ground. His friends picked him up, carried him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. You have to remember, he's a doctor. This is the 1780s, and bullet wounds were a lot different back then than they are now. He probably tried to bleed out the lead poisoning himself. So every ghost tour that comes down here tells everybody to listen for the whistles. However, we got 3 different video cameras running right now, plus my voice recorder. If it's going to be there, it'll be there, and just keep in mind if you're going to do this on your own with your own voice recorders from your phones and walk all the way through the alley, keep in mind every local knows the story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street throws a whistle down the alley. I do it every single night. So, it's just something that I do. Exactly. So, because we passed my garage on the way here, because I park right above the Scotchman, so I have to pass the alley every single night. So I always throw a whistle down here, especially since I got kicked out of here. That's the fun part of the story. Let's get into that. So this alley didn't go all the way through at one point this way. It was cut off between us and Cumberland Street about halfway. The reason why is because this is where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston. It was called Cow Alley back then. We do get the word cow quite a bit on your word list while we're here. But anyway, so that means the bricks on the other side, way down at the end, are sun-dried bricks from slave children. They're older than the bricks we're standing on. So, with that, there's a handprint in one of those bricks from a slave child. Some fingerprint swipes on the left. I used to always go through and show my guests, like, the handprint, because we all need to see it. I don't care about the diversity of my group. Like, we all need to see that damn handprint. However, I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. That kid is not staring at that brick in the afterlife. He's not there. November 26th of 2020. My entire team is huddled around one brick waiting for something to happen. I'm trying to shoo them along because I'm just trying to be respectful because I know he's not there, but it's also outside the kitchen window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I was just trying to be respectful to the house, not knowing I was out of bounds. I wasn't allowed to go down that far. So the new owner of the mansion came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because Dad's getting yelled at, and we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't tour on Thanksgiving because I worked in retail management mainly for Walmart for a good 20 plus years of my life. So you can understand why I don't work Thanksgiving. Bailey's like, I hear you.
I worked at Target. I get it.
I think Walmart is 30 times worse. I put that a specific number on there. But at any rate, the next day was November 28th of 2020. So I called my partner that I had at the time. I told him what happened. He said, dude, you can only go down halfway. Like, you got to either go down halfway or reroute the group. So I decided I'm going to reroute the group, but I'm not a pirate person. I'm a vampire guy. I don't even believe in the next story that I was about to tell these people, and I told them that. Before we left, somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box. I didn't tell them who we were going to be investigating. The famous female pirate Anne Bonny. So I went, well, damn, maybe we will get something. We get down there. I told what little bit I did know about piracy. Somebody else, here's the number 300. I don't know what that means. I write it down. The next day I'm researching. We were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy, November 28th of 1720. We are there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. That's the tree branches.
Oh, okay.
It looks like a
It
dancing
does.
ghost.
That is a giant ghost if there is one there.
Yeah.
So,
Don't point it out, honey.
oh, and try not to leave the equipment on the ground when there's rats running around. You might take it.
Liam.
So, before we leave the space, because again, we're just here to kind of stir things up about the doctor, we will get bleed over into the next space. What I mean by bleed over is while we were at the Pinckney Mansion site, we could have gotten things about Big John and vice versa. Let's huddle in and kind of like let these guys pass through. Keep mindful of your cameras. Point them down, please.
Rats.
Yeah, none of those like rats.
They're stupid.
So,
They don't bother me. I used to feed them in this.
gentlemen,
Monty.
good thing I told the story now. Anyway, but the gate behind me, remember that the alley didn't go all the way through this way. So that means if there was a loser to a duel, this was a shortcut to get over to St. Philip Cemetery. The gate wasn't there because I'm going to guess that the wrought iron work is early 1900s, so the archway was there. So I know you guys see a courtyard on the other side, but St. Philip Cemetery is right there, literally. So it probably wasn't all the way fenced in, and they could drop the dead body off so that way they could go celebrate the winter. I call this the Death Gate. It's part of the reason why I stopped right here. So again, the next space we're going to be talking about pirates, obviously, and then we're going to be able to spread out, but we will stay out of the way of the other tours, because again, another popular corner. You guys are getting the gist of it. That dude's cool. He just kind of hangs out in here. He'll ask us how if we're finding any ghosts. Anybody else feel raindrops just now?
Yeah.
Dag nabbit, we got to one more space.
It's all right.
No, I'm kidding. We're going to keep going.
It's light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the event that it gets too heavy, I'll get us away. The two of you should never point your cameras towards each other. Your camera can see his blinking LiDAR technology, so it's really hard to watch for the guy with seizures when it's blinking, flashing lights on the screen. So, again, just always point them away from each other if you can. Not to mention, it's got to be hard for you guys to watch too. So, again, can't catch anything that way. So, we're going to be discussing, first off, that little tiny building over there with the crosses on it. Those are not crosses, by the way. Those are earthquake bolts. If you're not familiar with earthquake bolts, they're basically turnbuckles. So in the event that we actually have another earthquake, like what we did in 1886, you can turn those turnbuckles, and it's supposed to tighten the building back up so that way it doesn't incur any further damage. That's part of the reason why we're here, is those earthquake bolts. Those are the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in, which, by the way, that whole technology with turnbuckles tightening up a building, that doesn't work. So again, they're there because that's the first set that Charleston ever put in, because that's the oldest government building in South Carolina. That's why we're here. This is what I call a familiar. You guys all watch the TV shows where they use a teddy bear to attract the child ghost? It's the same type of principle. This is just something that Anne Bonnie would actually recognize. So the hope here is that she's going to be here at the same time we are. Jane, you haven't said much about your word list, by the way. What do we got going on there?
Desperate.
Desperate. What was the last couple of terms? Try and hit that little white box.
Wound, meaningful, free, stare, restore, spirit, gentleman, forward, I am sorry, forward again, between, among us, elbow,
That forward showed up twice, you said?
yeah.
So forward and wound are really the only two. The only reason I say forward is because you probably got those at the time that we stopped, so that way these two can use the restroom. And it's almost like they were giving us direction, like keep moving forward.
Yeah. Hey, no, he ain't gonna tell me nothing. I had to pee.
Just telling you, when I hear something twice, I got to pay attention to
Right,
it. And
yeah.
you know, it's weird. And I think even from their notes last night, something came up in one of the spirit boxes, and it was also on the word list. So it's a notation because again, it might be something relevant.
Coins come up twice.
All right, let's circle back up. We're gonna stay out of the way of these other
Coin.
tools.
Oh,
So are you hearing anything, by the way? Nothing at all? Adrian, what about you? You got anything coming out of yours before I truly get into this story? All right, so here's how the history goes. The building was finished in 1713. The story begins right in the middle of its construction. The building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like your government? Small building, 10 years? No, not at all. I'll answer for you. It's
Sounds very
perfectly
efficient
fine.
for our government.
So 1708 is where it all begins. A young lady named Anne Cormack moves here from Ireland. Her name is, well, obviously Anne Cormack, I said that already, but she comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Is everybody with me so far? Okay, the three of them are running away from her father's angry wife. So how pissed was she that they had to leave the country to come here? So, especially since we didn't have any airplanes. They left by boat. So, they land in Georgetown. That's just north of here, between us and Myrtle Beach. Dad bought a plantation. Mom died pretty quickly. That means he's sending young Anne down here to sell things from the plantation to help keep things afloat. Hence the familiar building. That's why we're here. So, Anne back home in Ireland was said to be a badass even back then. They say at the age of 7, 8, 9 years old, remember that this is pirate lore, nothing is going to be perfectly exact, and it's part of the reason why I didn't want to do pirates, because none of it is exact, but they say she killed a servant when she was that young with a knife to the belly. I will tell you that we did have a phrase that came out of a spirit box just here the other night that said, tears to the stomach. Before I even said the statement. So it was really kind of like, all right, we'll take it. But we have had the terms knife and belly and servant all show up in the same evening. But back to, let's fast forward. Building's done in 1713. By 1715, pirates are coming through town. Anne is stoked. Why? She's going to fall in love so she can earn her freedom, just like a man. So, first guy she falls in love with. I said first because there's a handful. We're going to go through them all. First guy is James Bonnie. You already see where this one's going because we've already mentioned her pirate name. Dad didn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. They ran away to Jamaica. They got married. Anne Cormack is now Anne Bonnie. That's where the name came from. So, James Bonnie is not Captain Jack Sparrow like what she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer. He's a spy for the British. It means he's a coward in Anne's eyes. So, she falls in love again. Guy number 2. This is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. This is the guy that they based your Johnny Depp character off of for your Disney movies, just so you know who we're talking about here.
Jack Sparrow.
Exactly. So, Calico Jack has his own ship and a crew and wants to be part of it. You can't put a girl on a pirate crew because it's bad luck. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and look like the crew, then you can be part of it. But you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. So she gets it. Let's do this. But most of us are adults here except for Liam. Put 2 and 2 together. Being a female in his quarters, she's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl.
Well,
So he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby, come back later. We'll figure it out. She goes and has the baby, but returns with no child. We have no idea what happened to this baby. No amount of my research has ever found what has happened to this baby. Now, the irony of this part of the story is that she comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack pretty pissed off, because now everybody's going to know he let a girl on the ship. While she was gone giving birth, he captured another pirate crew. They're down below deck, all handcuffed up. She's going to go flirting, because that's who Anne is. So, guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack captured. Now we have 2 females, dressed like males, on the same ship. Her name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. So, her and Mary became friends, possibly lovers, we're not going to really know for sure, but the British found out where they are. They send an entire fleet of ships to take down one pirate ship. Anne and Mary, the rumor is they were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet flintlocks, probably because they didn't know how to use cannons yet. They weren't pirates for very long. So,
all around here is the 0.0.
Yeah, this is. I'm gonna get into that too. Give me just a moment. Let me finish up because we're almost there. I know this is a long one, but there's a lot of research that went into it. So, anyway, obviously they get captured and they're being arrested. And as they're being arrested, she looks at her beau and captain, Calico Jack, and she says, "Jack, I'm sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog." The word "dog" shows up a lot on our spirit boxes, just so you guys know. So the judge wants to see the two men that fought back so valiantly on their own. Calico Jack and the drunk pirates are dead and gone. They've already been hung. So Anne and Mary go in front and reveal their gender, trying to save themselves. He doesn't give a shit that they're female. They're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. "We plead our bellies" was the last thing they shouted, because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. This is the exact trial I was just talking about back at Dueler's Alley, by the way. So he delays the hanging, sends them both back to jail, but Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He was an attorney back home. He bails her out, brings her home. She remarries. It's husband number 2, but guy number 4. We're going to count Mary. We don't really know. She has 4 kids, dies at the age of 84. Yes, very abrupt, because we don't know much about her after her pirate career. The other piece is that Mary Reed dies a few months later in the month of April, which I think we're actually getting closer to the date of her actual death, in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. Most books will tell you that it was fever. I'm going to say BS and say probably scurvious. And let's make it romantic for ourselves, right? We're talking pirates. So 2 things I left out of here for all you spirit box and communication device people. I left out the name of Anne Bonny's parents, and I also left out the name of Calico Jack's ship. Everything else is up to you. You can ask things about like what city she lived in back in Ireland, what color her hair was, who did she love the most, you know, any questions you want to ask. This is one where we can poke the bear a little bit. So again, if she's here, she will answer these questions. So again, EMF detection. So Liam, pay attention, because this space is weird. We have 2 electrical poles in the corners. Don't get excited when you get numbers on the front half of this lot. Okay, on the back half back here, we may get something if she's actually here. Now, again, the powder magazine is what's familiar to her, but I like coming to the side of it so that way my teams of 10 can actually spread out a little bit. So again, just like what we did at the Pinckney Mansion site, I'll be bouncing around with all of you, but Liam's got my device, so I'm definitely going to be bouncing around with all of you guys a little bit more. So definitely get those cameras running. Let's get some footage in here, poke that bear, and let's get some answers.
All right, Bay, go. Yeah, I'm following you. Got a lot of heat emanating from the midsection.
That's embarrassing. Stop. That's so rude. Go away. Film over there.
No, I have to have a heat signature.
Is anybody here?
Not yet.
I don't have any spikes yet. Oop, 0.3. Usually 0.0.
I don't think my wife likes me following her. So, here, I'll follow you. You and your mom. Let's see.
Follow me.
Alright.
Because
go find something and then let me know.
if I have a sudden spike, I'll
Alright. Yeah, let me know and I'll turn it.
Yeah.
FYI, so I hope we don't have to go all the way back and then back again. We might as well split off. If, you know what I mean?
We're getting a cocktail at the bar.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, do you see what I'm saying though? Yeah. We're right by the hotel. I don't want to walk all the way back and then back again.
Yeah.
Come on, Liam. What do you got?
Yeah. I got a few sun spikes to 0.3, like right here, around.
Yeah, but 0.3 is not anything.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, I know. Sorry.
Well. say, "Make me believe. Make me believe." Nothing?
And I totally did not just toot right next to it.
Oh, that's what that heat signature was.
That's okay.
The heat signature hoots don't come up on
Yeah, I was wondering what that furry, bright red was going up into the air.
Oh, gas.
Uh-huh.
Gas isn't,
Bayley, you got anything?
isn't good enough. Isn't hot enough to...
I'm just messing with you.
Is there anyone around the phone? Just kidding. No, I wasn't.
So, what else have you heard? Tell me all the silly things you've heard that you don't think are relevant.
A lot of Harry Styles.
Why is it there?
Same
Because
as
she
it was.
has a crush on him. You shouldn't have mentioned Harry Styles to begin with, because now that's all she's going to
I
hear.
know.
Ooh, higher. The most common is 0.3, and now it just went up to 0.5. This is weird. I got doctor.
Now you're talking. We're going to get beat over. Sally, remember that. So again, if she's hearing just odd phrases,
Whoa. Is there a bench nearby?
yeah, you can go sit over there. Right against that brick wall.
I'm going to just walk around and see if I get
So you heard doctor. Doctor, why were you not smart enough to get yourself checked out?
anyone. If anyone is here, come over.
Told me I had a lot of heat in my midsection. That's so weird.
You know, like in your womanly areas.
So
Oh man, no, I got the hiccups. Oh no.
Or doctor.
Now we have a couple of doctors.
Do you see anything?
Yeah, ask him why he wasn't smart enough to get himself checked out. Doctor,
I asked when they died, and they said tomorrow. So I don't know if that means
Again,
anything.
remember, it's not
oh
always,
hey, don't say stuff like that though.
but it might be the date.
Yeah.
It might be the date that's relevant to when they actually
Right.
died.
Anne was her name.
Well,
Right?
Anne and Mary,
Well, and we're gonna get on a
ironically,
plane tomorrow.
both died in the month of April, just different years. So again, I'll look at the dates. I don't know them off the top of my head, and see if it's actually relevant.
Well, could be tomorrow.
It could be, but always remember, it's not always going to be an answer. So you don't always have to tell me the question. Like she probably didn't ask about Dr. Ladd, but she keeps getting the word doctor. You see where I'm going? Like it's
Yeah.
all the
Bill.
silly shit.
Up to 0.6, and that's the highest it's got.
Who is Bill?
I know who Bill is.
He's gonna tell us tomorrow.
No, I'm going to tell you before we leave the space.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to leave you guys hanging
That's
all night
even
long.
better.
Yeah, just like we
Hey,
did with
ask
the Pink
Dr.
Convention.
Bill if this rash is bad.
Well, Bill is not the doctor.
Oh.
It just got to 1.1. It's the highest.
What do you see, babe?
There's just 2.5 here. That's the highest it's got.
Talking about 1700s ghosts.
If you
Bailey,
are,
everything you're hearing, what do you
if you
got?
are here, please come towards this box.
Not getting a lot.
No, he says anything, not just a lot.
Anything.
Okay, I'll tell you the next thing I hear.
Tell him everything you do.
Around this. Well, can you come as close as you can to the box? If you're here. I'm actually trying to be nice.
Doesn't make
I
sense
can
to me
get
yet, but
way
we'll see.
meaner.
See if something else comes up. What's the last word you got?
You're not doing it?
Identification.
You want me to get mean?
It's just, it's changing so fast.
Okay.
It's on its slowest speed too, by the way.
Really?
Now I do a boot camp with every location. We actually speed it up until it's nothing but white noise. At the last location. Like that's a whole different tour. It's nothing but spirit boxes.
Oh.
So it's I call it spirit box boot camp. 'Cause
Yeah.
everybody gets a spirit box and that's all we use.
It
I only
feels
take
like
6 people.
something just kicked my knee pit.
Kicked it? Like, did you fall?
No, but my leg went like that.
Something may have nudged you a little bit.
Right.
Okay. Kick is a pretty harsh word. Like kick, you would probably fall down.
Like,
Something nudged you.
like kind of like that. It kind of felt like a boot.
Like a pirate boot kicking you?
Maybe.
How come this device picks up the numbers when it's just supposed to be a heat signature?
Because the lights are a different heat signature.
Yeah.
Oh,
Should be warmer than the screen.
it's an
around.
outline of just the numbers. It's a duplication of that.
Yeah.
Huh.
I wish my dad would just.
No
Yeah,
other words
I'm
coming
really
up.
not hearing. It's just changing so fast.
Okay. Anything out of yours? Okay. I say we call it. Let's go over to the wall. Get some answers.
Are we
Go ahead and get the shot. We got one more space after this. Don't jump the gun. So, interesting enough, Adrian told me that she has a friend that comes over here and keeps getting the name William as a disembodied voice through EVPs. William, ironically, could be Bill. Right. So, let's go over the very quick answers, and then I will kind of tell you another reason why I give you that heated warning at the top of the tour, because this is a space that can be dangerous, believe it or not. So this is one of the few pictures you can find of Anne Bonny with a shirt on, by the way.
It just got 3 points
sure.
here, right here.
She usually
Twice
topless
it got
or
It's
something?
because of the building next to you. So the reason why is because she used to bare her breast to show men that they were just killed by a woman.
Love it.
So, I know, badass, right?
I love it.
So, again, this is one of the few pictures. I do get young boys. I don't need angry moms. So, again, that's why she's fully clothed. So, just trying to get more readings. The names of her parents were William and Mary. So, William Cormack, Mary Brennan. This was not another subliminal trick where we had a secondary Mary. We just happen to have two in the same story. So, Mary Brennan was actually a servant for the Cormack.
All right.
Alright, so, by the way, when we get over there and I got her blindfolded up, we will huddle in pretty close. It doesn't always look good when I'm blindfolding people in the middle of a dark park in the middle of the night, just so you know.
True.
So again, other tours do pass through here and I don't need them going, what the hell's he got him doing now? So, anyway, the first time I came here, I just came here with a small group. I think it was just one party or two. And it was a cold night, somebody canceled, whatever, you guys get the point. But I said, we're gonna go experiment because I have to change this up every year. Now, what we got was the young lady heard the year 1828 come through on a spirit box, very specific. And then she had the hidden name Henry. And then I got the word Tim, because I was the one using the word list. Behind me is Henry Timrod. He was born in 1828. So look around, guys. There's a million monuments in here. I didn't know what we were going to find. So, quick story on Mr. Timrod. He was sick through most of his life, and he was a poet. So, obviously being born in 1828, he is old enough to go fight in the Civil War. So, he goes out to fight, and his comrades realize he's too sick to fight. They say, go home, be the voice of the war. Basically, they wanted him to write about what was going on the battlefield. So that's exactly what he did. He became known as the Laureate of the Confederacy. Like, it's a pretty big, prestigious title for us writers. Anyway, he has a son a few years later. You guys are going to know about the son. They're not. The son's name was Willie. He was born on Christmas Eve, and he died 9 months later. Very tragic. Obviously, being tragic, Henry is mourning, and a few years go by and he's not writing as much. His college friend realizes this because now he's not getting paid, he's borrowing money. He says, you know what, Henry, come out to my cottage out in Columbia. You can come write what you're supposed to be working on and leave Katie, your wife, behind with her parents to mourn over your son Willie. So he goes out there, it's where he writes his last words. He writes down, beholder of brief mortality. Translates to, person of short life. And then he coughs and it lands on the page in a blood stain. He had tuberculosis. So that blood stain looks like a man writing at his desk, and he died. So those were his last words. They only show this book one day a year because it's being held at the Charleston Library Society. They only show it on Halloween, and you have to be a member of the society or pay to go see it. But the internet is beautiful. I'm going to show you what the page looks like so you can see that blood stain and how it actually looks like a man writing at his desk. Once I show you the picture of the page, we're going to go over, we're going to get her all blindfolded up, and we're going to see what kind of answers we can get out of her and show you how this actually works. So you can see where the blood stain looks like a man writing at his desk. His last words were, "Beholder of brief mortality," written right above it. So kind of, he was only 38 years old when he passed away.
How'd the son die?
Don't know.
Oh.
I looked into it, can't find it. So nothing specific enough. There's like 3 different reasons for it, and I'm like, yeah, none of those match up. But this one is the one that actually usually comes up. I will tell you, like, I'll be watching a lot of things with this whole experiment because I have to give them a few tips and tricks of like what to do and how to conduct themselves, because I have to keep an eye on their breathing and things like that. I will not be writing anything down during this so I can focus on what's happening. So we definitely want to get some footage. Whoever has a camera, the best footage for this usually comes out of the camera they already have. So I'm going to have Liam definitely record like what's actually going on and gets the best footage. We have gotten a full figure standing behind that tree, William, with your camera.
Yeah.
Sitting down, knees up, but his arms were up like he was reading a book, and his right leg was kind of like shuffling around. Like nothing else around to make the reading come up that way. And you can see like it was a man sitting there. Like crazy stuff has happened in this location. One of the reasons why I have that device, by the way, somebody brought the big chunky one on my tour one night testing it out, and we had a full figure standing next to the bust, and we had an 8-minute interaction. And when I say interaction, it was, "Henry, is it okay if I read some of your poetry? Raise your right hand." He raised his right hand and then lowered it. We have it all on film. It was beautiful. The way he went away was the only woman in the tour went to the side of the gate and outstretched her hand to be offered to be shaken, like, "Hey Henry, shake my hand," and he disappeared. We couldn't get him back. You have to think of the times he came from. It was probably disrespectful for a woman to go up and offer her hand to be shaken that way. So again, can't make this stuff up, guys. I wish I could. But again, these are the things that happen, and that's the reason why we have the camera that William's using. And we've gotten other footage in this location. So Henry's very timid, so we're going to see if we can get anything out of him tonight. So it is Friday. Let's head on over and blindfold her up. Let's see what we can get.
Babe. What up?
Obviously it's going to be blindfold first, then earbuds, then noise canceling headphones. So, but a couple of tips. First thing, we're going to be covering pretty close around you because I don't need the other tour seeing them blindfolding people in the middle of the park. Second thing is, I'm going to be keeping an eye on your breathing. So this can get very intense if you're under for too long. This is the only thing that I time out of our entire time together. You're only going to be under for 10 minutes. So again, if your breathing gets a little bit heavy, I'm going to have Liam tap your leg, just so you know. So Liam, you got to be ready for that. Did you hear me? Okay. So 10 minutes, I'll time it. It's not going to feel that way. It's going to feel like 2 minutes because again, you're not going to have any other senses going on. The other thing is whispering. We can hear you. Most people want to shout when they get under. Yeah. Again, there's neighbors behind us, so we don't want to be screaming like crazy death, kill, murder kind of stuff coming through that you're going to be hearing. Again, you don't know anything about the space. You don't even, like, there's a million monuments in there anyway, which is why I do this experiment, because you don't know. Even though
Right. Yeah, I have no idea.
most, like, even the history that I told them isn't something you really believe. So, I'd say, let's go ahead and get started. The minute you put those earbuds in, you can start repeating whatever you hear in a whisper format. So, and I also want to make sure that once you set your volume, leave the spirit box alone. We want to make sure you're not cheating.
What if it's a bad word?
She can say whatever she wants. She's an adult.
In front of me? Well, I do
Liam,
know- I do
tonight
know
it's
most of
okay.
You just can't repeat it.
Liam.
What?
I'm going to move your glasses. Just saying it so I can set my bag back on.
Okay.
Should I go ahead and start it?
Yes, please.
Hold on. I'm not turning the volume up, so
Okay.
I guess I can.
You can now.
So do I have to use the recorder at all?
No, you can set that down for now.
Okay.
You got them upside down.
I'll help.
Good job. Espionage.
Espionage. It's 11:02, just so everybody knows what time it is. I'll be keeping track of time. I usually give them a few seconds to get acclimated because it can be disorienting. Looking for Henry Timrod. Henry Timrod can come to the box with the red light. We can hear you. The young lady sitting on the bench named ADRIAN. She can hear all the words that you're going to give us.
All the words that she
So let's
hears.
let me do my thing here. So, Henry Timrod, why don't you tell us what you did for a living, please? What was your occupation? Henry Timrod, what was your occupation?
The sun is killing.
Let's huddle in a little bit closer.
Okay.
Henry Timrod, please tell us what you did for your occupation. What did you do for
The
a living?
U.S. in prison.
Henry Timrod, one more time. What did you do for a living? What did you love to do? I want you to also keep in mind that this is also a place where I may ask yes or no questions because she doesn't know what we're actually asking.
Brian Snicker.
That's a full name. Henry, can you tell us anything about your son? What do you want to tell us about your son? We're actually kind of curious to know how he died. I know it was a tragic thing at the end of your life, but if you can tell us anything about your son, that would be great.
I saw a couple flashes of light in the background back there.
Okay. Henry?
Now, isn't it?
Henry, tell us about your son, please.
Another flash.
Your attitude.
My attitude is fine, being very, very respectful tonight, Henry. I know I didn't read any of your poetry tonight.
You're probably talking about me. Kid.
Henry, we're asking a lot of questions about your son, about what you did for a living. Same questions I've been asking you for the past few weeks. And we're being very respectful tonight. This is a very good group.
Another flash back
Figure it out.
You want me to
Why you
figure it
tell
out?
us?
there. What
We're waiting for you to tell us, Henry. Give us something specific about your son. About 4 minutes under, just so you know.
Running over.
Nope. Let's go to something simpler. Why don't you tell us where your son is buried? Where's your son buried?
Do you know?
I do know. You better know. It's right next to him.
Oh. You just gave him the answer.
I'm waiting to...
The
for-
fault.
What?
Discovery.
We're getting some terms. Come on, Henry. Give us some specifics about your son. Where is he buried?
Ministry of.
Of what?
You are. Start with.
We want to go back to the beginning with your occupation.
Flash. Oh, a bunch of flashes.
Okay, Lee. Henry.
Charleston,
She's listening to Charleston radio stations, and they're not very
Highway
good.
52, Monk's Corner.
52.
5 times.
Now she's hearing a lot more. It's unsuccessful so far, just so everybody knows. Like, I'm not
You're
impressed.
fools.
Henry. What's your wife's?
My life.
Oh. I'm going to continue asking the same questions till you give us some answers. What was your occupation? Any words coming up over there, Gene?
Stability.
You got. Oh, you're not even listening.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was paying attention to this.
To be rescued.
Does anyone need rescuing?
On a strike.
Does anyone need rescuing?
Henry? Anything you want to tell us specific about your life? So far, this has been unsuccessful, so I may cut it a little
Wrong.
short.
Wrong.
So we're going to give you another minute to give us something specific about your life.
Christians.
It's not specific enough.
Sounds like you're all ready.
For what? Ready for what?
Henry. Wife's name, your son's name, anything about them specifically would do. But I'm more interested in what you want to tell me what your occupation was. Anything crazy?
Understand?
Yeah, this is all too vague for me. So, just been
Girls.
7 minutes. Liam, go ahead and tap her out, buddy. Tap her leg.
Stop the recording.
Okay, that is so confusing. So,
So, unsuccessful.
Okay.
Completely. So normally, like I said, it's either one or the other. It works out really well or works out really bad. Unfortunately, I should have told you to continue listening. Because a lot of times, if we're not getting the answers here, we've noticed they go over there. That's why I also asked Jean, like, what other words she was getting. But what's going to happen now is I'm going to have them just do a quick lap around here while I tell you and Liam the history here very briefly.
Okay.
And then, so I want Liam to get those readings, though. So he may not be super interested in the history. Yeah, you can walk around. So Liam, the hotspots for your EMF reader are mainly, and don't shout when you do find them, because again, you're going to be excited because they go really high. You either find them behind that tree, over there, or we find them like over in this corner somewhere. We never know where it's going to be. But again, just kind of you don't have to shout them out. When you come back, you can tell me what you found. So try to remember what you see, okay?
okay, so like the exact. Well, do you have anything that I could mark an area with?
Yeah.
I'm going to know that it's in either one of those two grassy knolls.
Yeah.
So,
Over there or over here.
Okay, I'm going to start over here.
okay. All right, guys, let's spread out. Let's get some quick footage of this space. Continue listening, and I'm going to give her the history, and then we'll wrap up this party.
Go away.
No, I have to have a heat signature. Don't get mad at me.
Who is here? Not getting anything, dude.
Well,
All I got was yo and my bitches from Atlanta. I like when I said, I asked where she was from, and it said my bitch is from Atlanta, and nobody laughed at it. Tough crowd.
Babe, it's getting late.
Yeah, it's almost done. And then we'll grab a cocktail and then we'll go to bed.
Have you had anything on the spirit box again yet?
No,
Do you see anything on the thermal?
I haven't seen anything all night.
The
Do you
high,
see anything?
no, the highest spike I got was like right on that bump again, 2.0.
Well, Liam, you just keep looking now, and keep getting them recordings. William, if you're really here, go smack my wife's butt. See?
He didn't do it.
I don't know. You tell me. Did you feel it?
No.
All right. Ugh. What, B?
I'm just hearing snippets of songs. Bitches from Atlanta. Are you here? Yo. Do you have any cash? Because typically you tip them.
No.
Then it's okay. Don't worry about it.
You have to Venmo.
I don't have Venmo. My Venmo doesn't let me send money, remember? Don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal.
I was about to say, doesn't that all go in here?
I guess I'm not that spirit friendly.
We got anything?
No, I just have my bitches from Atlanta and yo.
My bitches from Atlanta.
Yeah, that's all I had.
How's our word list? Anything crazy on there?
Catch.
Well, bring it on over here and tell me what you got. We do have the number 6. Oh, the word ocean showed up here a few days ago, too. That's interesting. The number 6, I want to say, is the day that he died, October 6th. So, again, born December 8th, died October 6th, I believe. So the number 6 is somewhat relevant here. I need something else to verify.
I don't know.
It's kind of cool.
Still the hot dog.
My mother.
Oh,
How
I would
long
not
ago did you
eat
get
that.
one?
I'm not gonna eat that. It's 152.
So, do you remember that one popping up?
Yes.
Were we here yet?
No.
Okay. The reason I ask is because that little, stand over there, like that rock stand, that's actually a memorial to Andrew Jackson's mother. And we have had some activity come out of that, not necessarily out of the Estes method, but we have had things from the spirit boxes come out of that. This is actually lighter than what I would normally see, just so you guys know. Like, I don't make stuff up, and I'm going to tell you, like, normally the Estes method will kind of save things. EMF readings that he's getting all over the place because he can't stand still. What did he tell me? He's gotten 4.6. Did he get anything else while he was out there?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. Again, we have seen up to 167 in this location. We stayed, because I wasn't the one using it, I just stayed out of the area and had a separate EMF detector to make sure I was safe, and the person was perfectly fine. So we just kind of gauged it, and it went on for about 10 to 15 minutes. So again, we still get up to in the triple digits. We just kind of gauge it very closely. 200 is where we're leaving. That's kind of my mentality behind it. So what other major questions do you guys have? Did you guys all understand the concept of like the different things that we did? I mean, we only went through, 5 stories major? But I make sure that those pieces of history are